Good morning. Hope you're all right. We are approaching the end of times for Harry Maguire at Manchester United. West Ham have submitted a double bid for him and Scott McTominay, totaling 60 million for the pair of them. According to the Times, both offers are short of United's valuations. United would accept an offer in the region of 40 to 45 for Scott and somewhere in the region of 35 for Maguire. And I understand the one for Scott, in all honesty. 30 for Maguire, I think he's fine. I think he needs a reset after what we saw in Dublin. I think, his time at United is over. And arguing over 5 million when you could go and use that to start or continue building on the squad, I think is a little bit short-sighted. So both offers were rejected. United obviously wanting somewhere closer to, well, actually 80 million for the pair of them, rather than the 60 that's been put on the table. Now, I think you might squeeze a little bit more out of them. I think the situation is as follows. I think they're happy for Maguire to go. They probably just want a little bit more. And with Scott, I actually don't think that they're as keen to sell Scott. I think that if they don't see the valuation come in for McTominay, I think they'd probably keep him. And I don't think there's a massive issue with that. I think it's different in terms of his situation when it comes to the club. Different in terms of the situation, in terms of being a squad player. And actually, United's midfield doesn't have anybody in the mould of Scott. Now, I've been critical of Scott's play and quality and ability, and my mind hasn't changed on that, but he does offer a level of physicality that doesn't exist in the rest of the squad. The rest of the squad's quite short. The rest of the squad doesn't really have the physical stature of Scott, and there will be times when that physical stature is an asset that could be used. So I think if United got 70 for the pair, which kind of splits the difference between where they're at now and where they're at, or where United want to be at, I'd call that a good deal, to be honest. I would call that a decent deal. So yeah, that's where we're at the moment. It's also been reported West Ham want to increase the offers as early as today, so we might see another offer going in the mix today. I guess they want to get it done early doors, and it coincides with Chris Wheeler's report that they're looking to raise 100 million in sales. We are looking to raise 100 million in sales, which might sort of understand the harsh negotiation tactic. Could be some problems with the wages for Maguire. Oh. Sorry, jet lag's still doing me. Especially after Maguire's wage increase following Champions League qualification, according to Jack Rosser. So it's going to be interesting to see whether we can come to an agreement over that. Sean in the comments says Maguire goes and Mac stays, in my opinion. No need to have a fire sale on Mac. Yeah, I agree with that. And Mars says James... Marge, you don't know what you're talking about, my friend, so you can get to fuck about that. If anyone's got any questions, throw them in the comments. Where is it? Matthew says, how do you feel about this season? Pretty excited as usual. Always go into the season with optimism and excitement. Andy says, Sal Maguire and McFred. I think there's enough in midfield until January to go test Spurs with a Kane bid. Maybe that's why the figure of 100 million is there. Mushfiq says, Steve thoughts on Roy Keane leading the third kit reveal. Love to see him back at the club. Yeah, on one hand, yes, absolutely. Would like to see Keane involved more at the club. There wasn't really anything that made sense in that video. They did the prawn sandwich joke at the end of it. I guess it was kind of like you're selling your soul to the devil was the angle. I got it. I didn't really think it was compelling viewing. I mean, it's a kit launch. Kit launches are hard to make. Really, really. It looked like it was all shot in one day and all on just the one corner of Old Trafford, to be honest. It's good that Roy Keane's back in the mix. I thought that kit had more symbolism with the 1991 Cup Winners' Cup. So maybe there could have been something done there that made a bit more sense. But especially with it, that was an Adidas kit as well. That would have made so much more sense to sort of align it with that one. Peter Knight says, is the purplish red colour on the new away kit for Qatar? No. There's a good chance that that kit was decided upon prior to even the club being up for sale, let alone somebody coming in and making an offer for it. I don't think that's likely at all. Would I rather have Amrabat or Goretzka? Amrabat, I think. No, Amrabat, actually. On Amrabat, should United make 2 midfield sales, which looks like it could be McTominay, Fred, or 2 of McTominay, Fred, and Van der Beek? Amrabat is expected, according to Laurie, and it appears that the Fred and McTominay deals probably will be quite key to this. Martin says, Steve, kindly do a player analysis on Jean-Claire Todibo. Well, you are in luck because I did one yesterday. I believe it's going out today, so have a look out for that one. Damien says, not working. Is my screen frozen? Because I can see it. It must be your end, everybody. No, I've got 0 drop frames, green, in terms of my upload. It must be on your end, everybody. Do apologise for that. What's my favourite brand for United shirts? I don't really wear them, to be honest. Ant says, what do I think about offering Greenwood plus 80 million for Spurs for Kane? Well, I did see some training footage of Greenwood. Made me laugh, to be honest. A lot of people changed their mind on bringing him back after they saw the training footage. Your decision on Greenwood shouldn't be based on his ability. It should be based on what he's done. And that's that. However, there is a worry that should he come back, there's a very strong chance that he's nowhere near the same level of player that he was. That you're talking about, oh man, the most key development stages of a footballer. He's not played football. I think it's very difficult, Peter says, I think there's still some surprise to come in the window. A lone striker, yeah, a loan or a free. Although a free looks. Oh, sorry, yawning again. I'm gonna get back to normality pretty soon. I've been away for basically a month, and I feel like it at the moment as well. Dublin was sensational. A great trip away with the lads. If you can, make sure you see those highlights. You'll see Macola completely missing the target with the net at his mercy. It was well worth the trip. And we had loads of Paddock FC fans turn out, which I gotta love. In a completely other country and so many people turning up, can't fault that. One of the 5 team getting back together, especially me and Ash, Thursday. So on Thursday we are doing a live podcast. I don't know if it's broadcast live or if it's just a live in the arena. And I believe me and Ash are recording on Thursday as well. So you should see Talking Gash with me and Ash on Thursday or Friday, and then Vibe with 5. We have a launch party for it in London on Thursday night. XDayzex says, Greenwood won't be the same, nor do I want him, would love to see him go. Compost Smurf says we should get a prospect from South America. There's a few in the forward positions with potential. Yeah, I mean, we've done a fair few on prospects in South America, and I agree with you. I think there's a right load coming. KC says, not sure what you're all talking about, but I'll watch later. Andy says, crazy how many people are fuming over the match in Dublin because the first team were not used due to the OT game on Saturday. Do you know what? Actually, yeah, I did want to speak on that. So I can't believe how much the ticket prices were. The ticket prices were crazy. And this happened in San Diego as well. I believe the face value on the tickets might have been somewhere like $75, somewhere in that sort of ballpark, but Ticketmaster charged $350. Now, $350 is fucking bananas for a football match, let alone a friendly, let alone one that's going to be kids. Now, in the UK, when the match with Wrexham was announced, I'm pretty sure it was Kobe Mainu, and it might have been Dan Gore, Harrison Hansen. on the graphic. So I was never under any illusion whatsoever that it was going to be the kids. And I know the Real Madrid game wasn't announced until a fair bit later. But I thought it was going to be kids because it's Wrexham. They're a national conference slash League Two side. And we're playing the likes of Arsenal, Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid. Why would you expect anything but academy players in a Wrexham game? But apparently it wasn't sold that way over in the States. And if that's the case, that's not right. And then a similar thing happened with Dublin. Now, the Dublin game, I think was announced quite early. Oh, no, it was, but the Old Trafford one was announced quite late. I don't know how it was marketed, so I can't comment on that. But the pricing of the tickets on that one again was fucking scandalous, absolutely scandalous. And I don't think necessarily it's the club setting them. I feel like it's the venues that are setting the prices, because the prices haven't been the same at every venue. The prices have been all over the place. Super Angry Steve says it's standard fare for Ticketmaster Ireland. Rugby tickets in the Aviva are even pricier again. Jesus. Templar says, can see Greenwood crying about some of the abuse he's going to get, especially away. Hope we draw Millwall and he plays. Sell him. Wow. Up Your Kilt says, if it happened to my daughter and it was true, I wouldn't come out and defend him and praise the boy, but the girlfriend's dad did. Doesn't that say for something? I don't know, ultimately, because I don't trust the the reporting on the face of things. And somewhere in the region of, is it less than 1% of domestic abuse cases ever reach a trial? Does that mean that no domestic abuse ever happens, or that 99% of accusations are false? I don't think so. I think it's incredibly difficult to achieve a conviction in those things. Red Lad says Aviva Stadium is ridiculously expensive because the FIA can't afford to keep up their end of the deal. All right. Samakonda says, I don't think Mason will care about the abuse, though it is what it is. He will just take it on the chin. No pun intended. Ant says, for me, if Greenwood pulls on a United shirt, I'm done. It'll speak volumes about how far we've fallen as the club. I get the impression that the club don't know what they want to do with this. The fact that they've taken so long to make a decision following the CPS dropping of the case, it tells me that the club have no idea what to do with it. That's what it tells me. And I don't think the club have been very strong on this. Their internal investigation, what does that consist of? They can only talk to Greenwood. They can ask to speak to anybody else involved, but they can only talk to Greenwood, like, as part of their investigation. Like, if his missus says, I ain't talking to you, there's nothing they can do. So they can't force her to come in and speak to the club because she doesn't work for them. They can only speak to Mason. So how they work out what they're going to do, I have no idea. Andy says, yeah, family tickets Sunday, 2 adults, 2 kids was 127, and that's down to the Aviva prices. Personally, getting to see United. Lost that. Where's it gone? Lost the comment. In Ireland is great. There you go. Matthew King with a super chat says, do I think it'll take time to make a decision on Greenwood, more down to how the Glazers use contracts to value the player than the potential of the player? I think it's probably a factor. Yeah, sure. I look, I don't know what the club are going to do because I don't think the club know what they're going to do. Knight says, any imminent decision by the club is months. We've seen that with De Gea and the takeover. Yeah, probably that, yeah. All that seems to be coming out is that, Avram and Joel, the ones that are the most hands-on, they appear to be incredibly indecisive. So Hasp says, young men committing suicide, men's mental health, get rid of Mason. What are the consequences if United just throw him away for a case that's being dropped? Because it can't just hinge on the case. It can't just hinge on the case. Like, we all heard what... When did this happen? Almost 2 years ago, right? Wasn't it almost 2 years ago? Like, if it was role play, if it was in jest, which, you know, right, let's throw some stuff out there. Her phone was not fucking hacked, was it? That was clearly her that put that out there, right? You know, that was clearly her that put that out there. I'm not buying... Your phone was hacked and somebody knew where to go to find voice recordings and photographs like that, did they? I'm not buying that. You know, some fucking hacker on the other side of the planet knew exactly what to find on your phone, did they? No, they didn't. That's nonsense. And post it on your Instagram. Yeah, I don't think so. So I think there was probably some truth in that, on the balance of what I've seen, in my opinion. But I would say everything that comes after that is complete conjecture. But I think there was probably some truth in what got leaked. Now, I think if it was smart, or if it was lies, you know, a statement coming out and saying this was role play, this was a joke, something along those lines. But there's been silence for 2 years, and that doesn't scream innocence to me. So, I don't know. My gut feeling is that it probably happened. And I think a lot of people share that. And a lot of people don't, in fairness. A lot of people don't share that. But that's what I think is a bit on top about the whole situation. Samakonda says, Fulham dark horses with Andreas, Fred and Paulina in midfield. It's a better midfield than people think, for sure. Jason says, you support a Qatar takeover, but Mason Greenwood is a moral issue. Well, one, I don't support the Qatar takeover, so you're fucking wrong on that front. But also, they are not the same in the fucking slightest. Noto says, I saw Amber Heard with a fake black eye. Okay. Not relevant. It isn't relevant. It's not relevant at all. For those things to have come out and then someone saying they've been hacked, wasn't Amber Heard's, I mean, I'm asking because I don't really know, wasn't Amber Heard's whole situation is that she faked that shit, right? But then followed through with it. Well, just look at the patterns of behaviour and use your fucking brains. If this got out because they was hacked and then the case was dropped, but the case wasn't initially dropped, someone gave a statement, then rescinded a statement, like, it doesn't add up. Sorry, it doesn't add up. You can agree, you can disagree, but it doesn't fucking add up. Jay says, I think United are damned if they do and damned if they don't regarding Greenwood. I think you're absolutely right. Rudo says, Steve, you're a hypocrite. I'm not. I'm never fucking at a woman, mate. So, no. What do I think of Jacob Ramsey from Villa? I think he's a good player. Investigations generally mean you can't talk about it. Yeah, but there wasn't an investigation. You could have made a statement immediately. And the fact that there was an investigation was because somebody made a statement. Somebody made a statement because something had happened. And then somebody rescinded that statement. Come on, man, use your heads. Jason says, hypocrisy from Steve again. Like, well, for starters, you think I want Qatar. So, you're fucking wrong. Twice. Ed says, did she even press charges? That's not a thing in England. That's an American thing. But she gave a statement in support of whatever the CPS was looking for, I believe. And then that statement was later rescinded for whatever reason. So, yeah. Schilling says, on a lighter note, what was the best thing about the US tour and what was the worst thing about it? Planning my own trip. Listen, I think America's got a lot to like about it. Vegas can die in a fire because it's fucking horrible. And it might actually die in a fire because it's so hot. They make the outside so inhospitable that you have to go inside into the aircon and spend your money. It's a mad gaff, and it's a mad gaff to wrap your head around, and it's a mad... I can't believe people take kids there. It's insane. It's genuinely insane. It's a fucking seedy, horrible gaff, man. It's one of them, innit? Vegas can sling it. San Diego's nice. It's got a nice chilled out vibe. Some nice scenery and that. So yeah. How hot was it? Well, in Death Valley it was probably high 40s, I would think, if not 50. Mr. Deco says, do I want a gym? No, I don't. I don't want either. Andre says, backup striker, will we get one this transfer window? I'd be shocked if we did. I think there's still loads of areas for us to figure out. Tim says, am I the only one realising the video isn't playing yet? The comments are coming in. The video's definitely playing. Someone says, Howson, why are you constantly lowering the standards? Saying it's too soon for United to challenge when Liverpool finished 4th the season before they challenged. Right. There's a difference between challenging by accident and challenging by mistake and challenging when you're in a position to challenge, right? I'm not lowering the standards. I'm lowering the giddiness. It's not about standards or expectation. Are you fucking stupid? I obviously want United to win the league, but I'm not going to look like a fucking moron screaming that we're going to win the league when we haven't seen the evidence that United are capable of winning the league. I was at the FA Cup final. United were a fucking mile away from Manchester City. We may have closed the gap by adding Mason Mount, and we may have closed the gap if we bring Amrabat in, and we may have closed the gap with a new goalkeeper, and we might close the gap a little bit with a new striker. But there's no evidence to suggest that we've overtaken Manchester City yet. There's evidence to suggest that we can compete with and maybe have overtaken Arsenal. But that doesn't... Arsenal didn't fucking challenge last year, right? Let's have it right. They was just sitting there until they inevitably fell off. That wasn't a title race. Now, people will look at it and go, well, it's pretty fucking close. Yeah, it was, but they were never going to win the league. They were never going to win the league. Now, if United start better than we did last year, and we pick up some points where we fell off a little bit last year, yeah, we'll probably finish with a lot more points than we did last year. But that doesn't mean we're capable of challenging just yet. It's fuck all to do with lowering the standards. It's called having a fucking brain. You should try it one day. CTB says, it's about probability. It's possible for us to win, but unlikely. Yeah, I would go with that. Of course, look, strange things happen. Yeah, Leicester were 5,000 to 1 to win the league, and yet they won it. Yeah, of course, wild things happen. Look, if City get a couple of injuries, absolutely. Absolutely, United could get a few. But it's no guarantee whatsoever. So I'm not going to be sitting here claiming that that's going to happen. What evidence did Arsenal have when they finished 5th last season? None. But then, were they in a false position? You know, did anybody expect Liverpool to finish outside the top 4? Knight says if City played their first team and won their final matches, they would have been further above Arsenal than Arsenal were to us. Well, there you go. Yeah, and now look at Leicester. Yeah, so Leicester didn't... I'm wanting Manchester United to come and regain the sort of dominance that we had in the 90s and the 90s. Not to be one flash in the pan and then fucking relegated. Do you know what I mean? Or one title in 10 years and everyone going fucking bananas like Liverpool. Stop talking about Liverpool when they won one fucking title. We won a title 11 years ago. They're literally 1 year off being better than us. That's it. Because that's all they've done in the last 10 years. One title. Chris says, victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse regularly return to the abuser. When her dad made the statements, he did the poor girl no chance. United should send a message to all victims that you don't support abusers. Unfortunately, United do have to go by the letter of the law, and with no conviction. With a conviction, it's very easy for United. With no conviction, it's extremely difficult. Who's replacing Maguire and Scott if they leave? Well, Amrabat, I believe, would replace Scott. As for who replaces Maguire, I don't know. Johnny Evans, maybe. United should consider Ansu Fati. I don't think you get an Ansu Fati. Stephen Whelan says, we don't know what the relationship was like. If Amber Heard would have released audio clips of Johnny Depp that favoured her, would have had a different opinion about the case. Yeah, but then you got to remember she was trying to frame him to do something. She didn't release them and then rescind them and pretend nothing ever happened. There's a difference, isn't there? Thoughts on Biff Chip Marshall? I wouldn't rely on him ever. Where's all the free agents? There's loads, yeah. There's loads of free agents, and I would hope that we bring one in, even as just as a backup striker once we get in Højlund up to speed. Sean says Amrabat is a Fred replacement. Well, you know, they're all in the mix. Maybe it's Mainu is McTominay's replacement then. I think that's potentially possible. Chris says there's no way Scott is a worse player than Amrabat. There's plenty of ways Scott is a worse player than Amrabat. Plenty of ways. Provable, actually. Pranay says, I believe that if we just let Greenwood play for us again, it doesn't set a good precedent for the youngsters who support the club. Yeah. Apna says, unfortunately, even if United believe Greenwood is guilty, belief without lawful judgment proves with proof doesn't mean a society can simply convict someone. No, and I don't think you should be convicted by the court of public opinion. That's why this case is hella messy. But we all heard what we all heard, right? And the fact that it's not been refuted tells me something's a bit fucked with it. Maybe that would be a better thing for his PR team to deal with, is refuting what we heard. Lorenzo said, you sound tired. That's because I'm fucking tired, mate. My body clock is all over the show, and I don't know what day it is. Back in training tonight with the lads, though. We're back in league action on Saturday, obviously, ahead of United playing on Monday night. So it's one of those, isn't it? Honey Badger says, be pissed off if we don't get this Amrabat deal over the line. I don't know why. I think I think we'd be sound. I think we'd get him over the line, to be honest with you. I mean, let me know. Comments, let me know. Write it out in full, otherwise it'll just be yes or no. I want Maguire, yes, no. This is to stay. So Maguire, yes, no. McTominay, yes, no. And then Amrabat to get him, obviously, yes, no. So what do you reckon? Because I think it'll be Maguire won't stay, McTominay won't stay, but we will get Amrabat. That's what I think is going to happen. Thoughts on another number 9? I'd like one. I don't think we're going to get one. Should we still go for Kane? Yeah, I think we should. I do think we should, yeah. Whether we will or not. Maybe, like I said at the start of the video, maybe that's why we're going for the 100 million revenue claim on sales. Slider says no, yes. Arush says Amrabat, yes. Sean says Maguire, no. Maguire, no. Scott, no. Amrabat, yes. Maguire stay, McTominay gone, Amrabat in. I think that'd be a pretty good end to the window, to be honest. Ed, both are staying unless we pay them to leave. I'm not sure about that, but I do see Maguire's wages being problematic. I'd be surprised if West Ham can afford those. Compost says we need more guaranteed goals. Yeah, I think we might be a little bit shy in terms of goals. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. As always, thanks for tuning in. There will be a Todibo video a little bit later on, so make sure to check that out. And then tomorrow we'll have the vlog from our final leg of the tour and Paddock FC's first international game over in Dublin. If you are a Paddock FC member, please check your emails, because there's a very important vote that has been going on this week that we want your opinion on, which is in terms of sponsorship ethics. And if you're not, then or if you've not cast your vote yet and you'd like to discuss it a little bit more, then we have got some stuff going on in the Stretford Paddock FC Reddit group, where I've been answering some questions and sort of explaining the thinking behind some of the ethics. So if you'd like to get involved in that, I would encourage you to do so. But thanks for your time. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe. Catch you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.